Hey dreamers, tonight we're visiting a new story, one that opens a quiet window into another world. In this episode, we explore daily life inside a medieval monastery, peaceful gardens, handwritten manuscripts, simple meals, and the calm rhythm of the monks' days. If you enjoy drifting into these calm stories, feel free to like and subscribe, only if it feels right to you. Let us know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. We love seeing this quiet global community come alive. Now get comfortable, dim the lights, and let's slow down together. Ready? Let's drift into tonight's story. You wake as the first sliver of dawn spills across the stone floor, a pale breath of light drifting like a soft sigh through the narrow window. The walls are cold, ancient, and they seem to whisper secrets collected over centuries. You can almost hear them, murmuring in the dark corners where the candle once burned low. Your fingers brush the coarse blanket, the texture rough against your skin, like moss on an old oak. You feel the slow rise and fall of your own breath, as if the monastery itself is breathing with you. Outside, the morning bell tolls. Its echo drifts through the corridors, sliding under doors, curling around wooden beams. The sound feels like a gentle hand on your shoulder, calling you to rise. You stand, feet touching the chilled floor, and a shiver runs through you, delicate as a spider's thread. You move toward the door, feeling the quiet weight of the stone walls, the way they seem to lean in to listen to your heartbeat. In the corridor, a faint smell of burning oil lingers, a ghost of last night's lamp. You hear the soft shuffle of sandals on the flagstones, distant and slow, like the hush of waves against a moonlit shore. You walk past heavy wooden doors, each carved with small, fading symbols, leaves, stars, spirals, silent prayers carved into the wood. Your fingertips trail along the rough grain, each knot and groove a story left by hands long gone. You enter the chapel, the air dense with the scent of old incense and beeswax. The flicker of a single candle dances on the altar, its flame bending and bowing as if in silent prayer. You listen to the hush before the first chant, a silence so thick you feel it resting on your shoulders like a warm cloak. You close your eyes, and in that darkness, you hear the distant breath of the garden waking outside, the dew sliding from leaf to leaf, the first bird daring to sing into the fragile light. The chant begins. Voices rise slowly, tender as the first petals of spring. Each note feels like it hovers just above your skin, vibrating softly, drifting upward toward the vaulted ceiling. You feel your own voice stirring inside you, a hidden river that has always been there, waiting for this gentle dawn. You breathe in the cool air, tinged with candle smoke and the faint sweetness of old wood. When the final note dissolves into the quiet, you feel the air shiver with memory. You step back into the corridor, where a thin line of light now crawls along the floor, guiding you forward. You move through the cloister garden, the stones damp beneath your feet. The scent of wet earth rises, deep and dark, carrying echoes of rain and roots. You pause to touch a leaf, its surface slick and cold, trembling under your fingers as if it holds the secret pulse of the morning. Somewhere a bell calls again, softer this time, as though inviting you deeper into the day's slow rhythm. You walk on, past rows of herbs whose leaves glisten like tiny mirrors. The air smells of rosemary, sharp and clean, and you imagine the monks gathering these sprigs, each movement a quiet devotion, each snip a silent offering to the dawn. A breeze sighs through the arches, carrying with it the faintest promise of warmth. You feel it slide along your neck, curling around your wrists, reminding you of the sun waiting just beyond the walls. You listen to the slow heartbeat of the monastery, the gentle hush of steps, the soft clatter of a wooden bucket far away. Each sound drifts to you like a half-remembered dream, and you follow it deeper into the morning, where the day begins not with noise, but with a soft, endless exhale. You drift past the last row of rosemary, your fingers brushing each sprig as though greeting old friends. The garden stretches out before you, a tapestry of green and silver, shimmering under the waking sky. You move slowly, each breath deep and cool, tasting the wet air that smells of leaves and ancient stone. A narrow path leads you toward a low wall covered in ivy. The leaves tremble gently, catching the soft glow of the early sun. You pause, feeling the stones beneath your palm, their surface rough and cool, each crack a silent testimony to seasons long forgotten. A single droplet slides down a vine, catching the light for a moment before disappearing into the earth. The air hums with distant life. A sparrow flickers between branches, a bee hovers above a patch of lavender, and somewhere beyond the wall, water trickles in a quiet, secret stream. You lean closer, hearing its soft gurgle, like a whispered story only the garden can tell. You close your eyes and imagine the water moving over smooth stones, carrying tiny petals and fallen leaves, a quiet procession flowing endlessly toward some hidden place. You follow the path to a small alcove where a stone bench waits in the shade. Moss crawls across its base, a soft green blanket woven by time. You sit, feeling the cold seep into your bones, grounding you in this moment. Overhead, the branches sway, their leaves brushing each other in gentle applause. You listen to the wind's gentle voice, a secret language of sighs and slow breath. A thin ray of sunlight breaks through the canopy, sliding across your hands. You watch it dance along your skin, turning each tiny hair into a golden thread. You turn your palm up, catching the warmth, feeling it pool in your lifeline, as if the morning itself has decided to rest there for a while. Somewhere nearby, a wooden door creaks open, and the soft echo of footsteps drifts through the garden. You remain still, letting the sounds move around you like ripples on a pond. The scent of freshly turned soil reaches you, mingling with the cool perfume of mint and thyme. Every inhale feels like a silent prayer, a slow gathering of the world into your chest. A crow calls from the rooftop, its voice sharp against the hush. You tilt your head, following its silhouette as it leaps into the sky, wings slicing through the pale blue like ink on parchment. You watch until it disappears beyond the courtyard walls, leaving behind a sudden stillness that feels almost sacred. The bell sounds again, a low and steady summons, weaving its way into the morning air. You stand, moving toward the arched doorway that leads back inside. Your steps are unhurried, each footfall a quiet punctuation in the soft narrative of the day. The doorway embraces you in shadow, cool and welcoming, and you step into the dim corridor where the scent of beeswax and old parchment wraps around you like an old cloak. You pause before a wooden door, its surface dark and smooth from countless hands. A gentle push, and you slip inside, into a room alive with whispers of ink and candlelight. You breathe in deeply, catching the scent of vellum, warm wax, and the faint trace of lavender oil used to calm restless hands. The glow of small flames trembles along the walls, turning the air into a soft, golden sea. You move to an empty desk, your fingers gliding across the smooth wood, polished by years of quiet devotion. A quill waits beside a small pot of ink, its point sharp and delicate as a bird's feather. You lift it carefully, feeling its weight settle into your fingers, as if it recognizes you, as if it has been waiting for your touch all this time. You dip the quill into the ink, watching the dark liquid tremble and gather at the tip like a drop of midnight. The first touch to the parchment sends a shiver up your arm, as though you have opened a tiny door to another world. Each stroke is a breath, each curve a heartbeat, the letters blooming slowly like moonflowers under a silent sky. The room is alive with the soft scratch of other quills, a delicate symphony of patience and devotion. Shadows move across the walls, the flames of candles nodding gently in rhythm with each careful movement. You can feel the warmth of the wax, smell its sweet, faintly honeyed perfume as it drips and pools in quiet golden lakes. You pause for a moment, closing your eyes, feeling the echo of the words settle into your chest. The parchment beneath your hand feels like skin, fragile and waiting. You sense the stories hidden inside the ink, the centuries of thoughts and prayers, each letter a small vessel of hope sent into the darkness beyond these walls. A monk passes behind you, his robe whispering softly against the floor. You hear his breath, steady and slow, a living metronome guiding the silent rhythm of the room. You catch the faint scent of lavender and old wool as he moves, and for a moment you imagine his mind wandering beyond the walls, drifting toward the stars pinned high above the chapel roof. Your quill moves again, dancing lightly across the page. Tiny drops of ink mark your fingertips, dark moons on pale skin. You feel them cool and tacky, a gentle reminder of the quiet craft unfolding under your hands. The pages fill slowly, each line a river winding through the silence, carrying small prayers and half-formed dreams on its gentle current. Somewhere nearby, a book closes with a soft thud, the sound echoing briefly in the hushed space. You hear the wooden chair creak, a deep sigh of old joints and worn fibers. You resist the urge to look, choosing instead to remain in the warm cocoon of your own breath and ink and parchment. Time softens here, dissolving into the steady drip of wax and the rustle of pages turned. You feel it move like honey, thick and golden, stretching each moment into something tender and endless. You wonder if outside the sun has climbed higher, or if the morning still lingers like a pale ghost in the sky. Your eyes lift to a narrow window where light falls in a thin, trembling beam. Dust motes drift lazily within it, tiny stars waltzing in a slow, silent ballet. You watch them sway and spin, each one a bright spark caught in a fleeting dance before sinking back into shadow. Your quill hesitates above the page, and you breathe out, long and slow, as if releasing a bird from your cupped hands. A quiet satisfaction spreads through your chest, gentle and warm. You set the quill down carefully, as though placing a small sleeping creature into its nest. You stand, stretching your fingers, feeling the ache of focus hum through your wrist. You glance around at the others, their faces calm and distant, each lost in their own silent sea of words and light. You move toward the doorway, the hem of your robe brushing the floor in a soft, comforting whisper. You step out into the corridor, where the air feels cooler and carries the scent of baking bread drifting from the kitchens below. You follow the corridor, the scent of warm crust and yeast wrapping around you like an invisible shawl. Your steps echo softly against the stones, a gentle rhythm that seems to harmonize with the faint murmurs of the kitchen far below. The light shifts here, playing along the walls in thin, golden sheets, flickering like secret smiles shared between old friends. You move past small alcoves where candles flicker in shallow bowls, their flames low and steady. Each one feels like a tiny heart, pulsing softly in the shadowed hush. The air is thick with the scent of beeswax and fresh herbs, sage and thyme drifting like soft songs through the corridor. As you descend the worn stairs, your fingers trail along the cool stone banister, its surface smooth from countless silent journeys. You pause at a small window carved deep into the wall. Outside, the courtyard glows under the shy warmth of the late morning sun. The vines on the far wall shimmer, leaves trembling as if they, too, are breathing in this moment. You reach the refectory door and slip inside. The long wooden tables stretch before you, each surface polished by quiet hands and time's patient touch. Simple bowls rest neatly in lines, each one holding a promise of warmth and simplicity. You hear the faint clink of a ladle against a pot, the hush of a bench shifting as someone settles. You choose a place near the end of the table, the wood cool beneath your palms. The room feels alive with small movements, the careful lifting of spoons, the soft dipping of bread into steaming broth. You catch the earthy scent of root vegetables and barley, a humble fragrance that feels like a comforting embrace. Your eyes wander across the faces nearby, each expression serene and inward, as though each person is listening to a hidden melody. The hush is deep, yet not empty. It hums with gratitude, patience, and the gentle presence of shared quiet. Each movement feels like a prayer. The tilt of a bowl, the slow raising of a spoon, the quiet closing of eyes after a swallow. A shaft of light falls across the table, illuminating tiny dust motes that drift like golden seeds. You watch them float and spin, tiny dancers in an unseen current. The glow touches your bowl, turning the surface of the broth into a warm, amber pool. You lean forward and inhale, the steam curling into your nose like a soft promise. Your first sip is slow, the warmth blooming across your tongue, sliding down your throat in a tender wave. Each mouthful feels like stepping into a sunlit clearing, safe and timeless. The bread is dense and earthy, crumbling slightly beneath your fingers. You taste the hidden sweetness of grains, the ghost of the summer field where they once swayed in the wind. Silence holds the room together, weaving each monk's small, careful gestures into a single, gentle tapestry. You hear the low hum of breath, the faint rustle of robes, the quiet creak of wood under shifting weight. Everything moves in a soft, sacred rhythm, as though the entire room breathes with one shared heart. As you finish, you place your spoon down lightly, the sound barely a whisper. You feel the warmth settle deep inside, a quiet lantern glowing beneath your ribs. Around you, the others begin to rise, their movements unhurried, each step measured and full of quiet purpose. You stand too, your body moving as if guided by an unseen hand. You turn toward the door, the air cool against your face as you step back into the corridor. You sense the slow turning of the day, the sun beginning its gentle arc toward the western sky. Your breath deepens, and for a moment, you feel the whole monastery breathe with you, a single, slow exhale echoing through stone and wood and soul. You follow the corridor once more, feeling the gentle shift in light as the afternoon deepens. The warmth lingers against the walls, a soft embrace that trails behind you like the memory of a song. You pass a narrow archway where ivy spills down like a green waterfall, its leaves trembling in a quiet, private dance. Beyond the arch, the chapel doors stand slightly ajar, a golden line of light slipping through the gap. You approach, drawn by the subtle hum of voices rising and falling within. Your fingers touch the edge of the door, warm and worn smooth by years of quiet arrivals. You slip inside, the cool hush of the chapel wrapping around you like a deep breath. Candles flicker along the walls, their flames small but steady, each one a silent sentinel holding the dusk at bay. The air shimmers with the faint scent of frankincense, a sweet, smoky veil that lingers in your lungs. You move quietly to a wooden bench, the surface polished by countless knees and folded hands. Your eyes lift to the high ceiling, where shadows drift like slow-moving clouds across ancient beams. The last light of day slants through the stained glass, scattering pools of color across the stone floor. You watch as a patch of blue shivers, then melts into a river of gold and crimson, each hue a soft sigh caught in motion. The chanting begins, low and steady, a deep current that carries you effortlessly into stillness. Each note unfolds like a petal, opening slowly into the air before floating gently down into the waiting hush. You feel the sound seep into your bones, a warm tide washing over the quiet shores of your mind. Your breath matches the rhythm, long and smooth, as if your lungs are learning to sing along. You feel your heartbeat slow, each pulse echoing softly in your wrists and throat. You sense the presence of the others around you, a shared warmth, like stars gathered close in a dark sky. A single voice rises above the rest, clear and bright as a lantern on a moonless night. It weaves through the deeper tones, lifting and turning, a slender thread stitching the edges of the dusk together. You close your eyes, and in that darkness, you see gardens blooming, rivers winding through hidden valleys, the silent faces of the moon drifting above silent fields. The chant grows, cresting like a wave before dissolving back into the deep, gentle ocean of shared breath. The final note hovers, a shimmering thread suspended in the twilight, before fading into the soft rustle of robes and the faint crackle of candle flames. You open your eyes slowly, as though waking from a long, sweet dream. The light has faded further now, the colors on the floor deepening into rich pools of shadow. You rise with the others, each movement slow and reverent, as if stepping through a veil into another world. As you step into the corridor once more, the air feels cooler, touched by the first whispers of evening. You sense the long night stretching out ahead, a quiet road lined with stars and distant dreams. The monastery seems to exhale around you, each stone and beam settling into the soft embrace of dusk. Your hands brush the walls as you walk, feeling the cool texture beneath your fingertips, each groove and notch a silent witness to centuries of gentle devotion. You move toward your small cell, the thought of rest settling over you like a soft shawl. The corridor narrows, the shadows deepening, and you feel the night gather close, a tender companion ready to cradle you into sleep. You step into your cell, the small space breathing quiet around you. The walls hold the last glow of the day, a faint warmth that fades into the edges of the stone. Your bed waits in the corner, simple and spare, the blanket folded like a patient hush. You move slowly, each gesture deliberate, as if the room itself is watching and listening. You sit on the edge of the bed, your fingers brushing the rough fabric. The texture feels grounding, like earth under bare feet. You lean forward, resting your elbows on your knees, letting your head hang for a moment. The silence thickens, wraps around your shoulders, and you breathe it in as if it were incense, soft and fragrant, drifting through your veins. A small window above you reveals a slice of the evening sky. Stars begin to emerge, pale and tentative at first, then brighter, stitching silver stories into the deepening blue. You watch them flicker, each one a tiny lantern floating in the vast dark sea. You imagine them whispering to each other, trading secrets across the night. You rise and move to the basin in the corner, dipping your hands into the cool water. The shock of it runs up your arms, awakening every nerve in a gentle cascade. You cup your hands and bring the water to your face, feeling it slide over your skin, washing away the dust and ink of the day. Droplets cling to your eyelashes, your lips, your chin, shimmering like morning dew before they fall away. You dry your hands on a small linen cloth, its fibers worn and soft from countless evenings. The scent of lavender lingers faintly in the fabric, a quiet reminder of hands that folded and prepared it, of gardens blooming beyond the walls. You fold it back neatly, your fingers moving with a slow reverence, as though each fold were a blessing offered to the coming night. You return to the bed and sit again, closing your eyes. Your breath steadies, deepens, each inhale a gentle gathering of the day, each exhale a soft release into the waiting dark. You feel the weight of the hours slide from your shoulders, drifting down to rest in the quiet corners of the room. A distant bell tolls, its voice low and patient, echoing across the courtyard and into your bones. You imagine the sound rolling through the arches, curling around candle flames, slipping into the dreams of those already drifting beyond the veil of sleep. You let it move through you, a final thread tying you gently to the rhythm of the monastery. Your eyelids grow heavy, the space behind them blossoming with quiet shapes, the curve of a leaf, the slow ripple of water, the shimmering dance of dust in a sunbeam. You feel your body soften, sinking into the mattress, the blanket rising to meet you like a familiar embrace. Outside, the stars will slowly overhead, each one a tiny breath against the vast, silent dome. You sense the garden resting, the herbs curling inward, the stones cooling under the moon's pale gaze. The world beyond your walls hums in a deep, wordless lullaby, a soft murmur that holds you close as you drift further inward. Your final thought is a quiet sigh, a small candle flickering low before settling into stillness. The room fades, the walls dissolve into shadow, and you slip beneath the surface of dreams, cradled by the tender hush of the long, waiting night. In the quiet folds of sleep, you drift through corridors made of moonlight and breath. Soft echoes guide you, like distant bells calling across misty fields. You feel your feet brush against cool stone, though your body lies still, wrapped in the gentle dark. The walls around you seem to breathe, their ancient stones alive with slow, silent stories. A window opens in your mind, revealing a garden bathed in silver glow. Dewdrops catch the moonlight and hold it close, tiny lanterns trembling on the tips of leaves. You step barefoot into the garden, each blade of grass a cool kiss against your skin. The air shivers with the scent of lavender and damp earth, weaving into your lungs like a midnight hymn. You move past rows of herbs, their shadows stretching long and soft across the ground. You pause to touch a rosemary bush, its branches sighing beneath your fingers, releasing a sharp, sweet perfume that curls around your wrist like a secret. Somewhere nearby, a moth flutters, its wings pale as petals, drifting between the fragrant blooms. A gentle breeze stirs, carrying the faintest sound of chanting from a distant chapel. The notes reach you in thin, glimmering strands, slipping between the leaves and sliding across your shoulders. You tilt your head to listen, feeling each note settle against your skin, as delicate and fleeting as morning mist. Beyond the herbs, a narrow path winds toward a hidden pool. The surface gleams under the moon, smooth and dark, like a polished mirror holding the night sky in its heart. You kneel at the edge, your reflection a soft ghost wavering in the water. You dip your fingers, and the ripples drift outward in slow, shimmering rings, each one a silent prayer dissolving into the darkness. You lean closer, breathing in the cool, damp scent rising from the pool. Tiny stars seem to flicker beneath the surface, as if the sky has slipped down to rest within this quiet hollow. You imagine each ripple carrying a fragment of your breath into the depths, a gentle offering to the hidden life that stirs below. A sudden hush falls over the garden, a tender stillness that makes you hold your breath. You look up, and the moon stands high above, its face serene and watchful, casting a pale cloak over the world. The air thickens with possibility, as though time itself has paused to listen to your quiet heart. You rise slowly, your movements a soft echo of the swaying branches. You turn from the pool and follow the path back toward the walls, each step sinking gently into the dewy earth. The shadows shift around you, unfolding like the slow opening of a book whose pages whisper in the dark. At the edge of the garden, you pause once more, looking back at the silver-lit leaves, the pool now a dark, still eye watching the stars. You feel a warmth rise in your chest, a quiet gratitude blooming like a hidden flower. You breathe deeply, gathering the scents and sounds into yourself, as if carrying a small, secret lantern back into the waiting folds of sleep. You step back into the shadowed corridor of your dreams, the air thick with the scent of stone and candle smoke. Each breath feels heavy and sweet, like honey melting on your tongue. Your bare feet make no sound on the cool floor, yet each step feels full, echoing softly inside you as if you are moving through the hollow of a great shell. The walls around you shimmer faintly, their edges softened by drifting wisps of moonlight. You reach out to touch them, your fingers grazing the cold surface, feeling the stories stored in each tiny fracture. Somewhere deep inside, you sense voices, distant chants woven into the mortar, echoes of countless prayers layered like thin sheets of gold. A narrow archway opens to your right, inviting you into a smaller chamber. You move inside, the space dim and fragrant with dried herbs hanging in quiet bundles from the beams above. Lavender, sage, and wild mint whisper to each other in the dark, their scents curling around you like gentle fingers. You pause beneath them, tilting your head to breathe in their patient, timeless presence. In the corner stands a small wooden table, its surface worn and nicked, as though it has listened to many secret confessions. A single candle burns there, its flame steady and calm, casting a warm circle of light that feels like a held breath. You step closer, watching the flame dance and bow, as if greeting you in silent recognition. Your hands hover over the table, sensing the soft warmth radiating from the wood. You find a small clay bowl filled with clear water, the surface reflecting the trembling candlelight like a fragile moon. You dip your fingers lightly, feeling the coolness seep into your skin, a quiet thread weaving you deeper into this dream space. Beside the bowl, a sprig of rosemary rests, its needles dark and fragrant. You lift it gently, holding it beneath your nose, and the scent blossoms in your mind, sharp, green, full of hidden fields and early morning rain. You imagine the monks tending these herbs, their hands moving slowly through the leaves, each motion a silent hymn to the earth. You move back toward the archway, the rosemary still cradled in your palm. The corridor waits, shadows curling around your ankles like soft cats. You follow its winding path, the walls breathing alongside you, alive with secret warmth. You sense the nearness of other dreams drifting through nearby rooms, their shapes and whispers sliding just out of reach. A soft draft caresses your face, carrying with it the faintest murmur of distant chanting. You pause, closing your eyes, letting the sound wrap around your ribs and sink into your heart. The voices rise and fall like waves on a moonlit shore, each note dissolving into the next, endless and tender. You continue walking, guided by the hush of breath and the weightless pull of starlight filtering through hidden windows. The air feels thicker now, woven with the scent of beeswax and the soft perfume of night flowers blooming in secret corners. Each step carries you deeper into a quiet that feels both endless and comforting, a hidden sea where time drifts without measure. You reach a small alcove, its floor scattered with petals fallen from unseen blooms. You kneel there, the soft cushion of petals cradling your knees, and bow your head. Your breath moves slowly, gathering the scent and hush into a single, glowing ember inside your chest. You hold it there, feeling it pulse gently, like a small lantern guarding the door to your sleeping heart. You rise from the petals, their faint perfume clinging to your skin like a secret blessing. The corridor stretches before you once more, dark and gentle, as though it has been waiting for you to return. You step forward, your movements slow and measured, each footfall a quiet echo rippling through the hush. The air deepens as you move, becoming richer, almost velvety against your face. A soft glow begins to grow ahead, spilling from a wide archway like honey melting across cold stone. You approach, drawn by the warm pull of light and the low hum of unseen voices vibrating just beyond. When you pass through the arch, the space opens around you like a held breath, finally released. A vast room unfolds, lined with tall, flickering candles standing in patient rows. Their flames sway and bend, whispering in silent conversation, their light pooling in golden waves across the floor. At the far end, a small altar shimmers beneath the glow of countless tiny lamps. Shadows drift and fold around it, like dark wings sheltering a fragile heart. You feel a gentle heat rising from the stone, as though it remembers the touch of many bowed heads and folded hands. The scent of old wax and faint incense weaves through the air, thick and soothing, inviting you to pause and breathe deeply. You move forward, your fingers brushing the smooth edges of the candle holders as you pass. Each touch feels like a greeting, a soft affirmation that you belong to this hush, this shared heartbeat of flame and shadow. You sense the invisible presence of those who came before, their hopes and quiet sorrows resting here like forgotten petals pressed between pages. As you near the altar, you lower your gaze, your breath settling into a slow, rhythmic tide. You kneel on the smooth stone, the surface cool and steady beneath you, holding you as gently as a cupped hand. Your eyes close, and the world narrows to the soft dance of breath and the faint warmth of the candles surrounding you. You sense time dissolving, each moment melting into the next without edges or weight. The room seems to sway slightly, as though the walls are breathing alongside you, expanding and contracting in silent devotion. The darkness beyond the candlelight feels endless, a deep ocean holding the echoes of every whispered prayer ever offered in this space. A distant note rises, fragile and clear, drifting through the air like a silver thread. It weaves around your heart, pulling you deeper into the stillness. Another note joins, then another, until a quiet chorus flows above you, a river of sound so gentle it feels like a dream sliding across your skin. Your thoughts blur into the melody, becoming soft ripples across an unseen pond. You feel each inhale gather the warmth of the candles, each exhale carry a silent offering into the dark. You imagine these offerings rising like small lanterns, floating upward, each one a bright side disappearing among the stars beyond the roof. The candle flames continue their delicate dance, tiny guardians of the night, their light a quiet promise that even in the deepest dark, warmth and hope remain. You stay kneeling, your body anchored and your mind adrift, cradled by the gentle music and the steady glow surrounding you. After a long, timeless moment, you rise slowly from the stone floor. Your limbs feel weightless, as if woven from moonlight and soft breath. You move away from the altar, each step quiet as drifting ash, leaving behind a gentle warmth that seems to glow just beneath your skin. The corridor receives you again, its darkness now tender, holding you like a familiar melody. You move along its winding spine, guided by a faint silver glow filtering from small, arched windows high above. Outside, the night lies vast and still, the stars shimmering like distant eyes watching in serene silence. You pause by one of the windows, resting your forehead against the cool stone. Your breath clouds the glass for a moment, a fleeting ghost that vanishes as quickly as it appears. Beyond the walls, the garden rests under a thin veil of moonlight, each leaf and blade outlined in pale silver. You sense the soft sleeping sighs of hidden creatures, the slow curling of petals, the delicate hush of dew forming. A gentle breeze whispers through a narrow crack, brushing across your cheeks, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and night flowers. You close your eyes and let it wash over you, gathering it into your chest as if it were a fragile gift. Your fingers trace the worn edge of the window, feeling its quiet story pressed into the stone by countless hands and countless nights. You continue down the corridor, your steps merging with the soft murmur of the monastery breathing around you. Every arch, every crevice seems to hum with a low, comforting note, as if the entire building were a great, slumbering creature dreaming beneath the stars. As you reach a small wooden door, you feel a hush deepen within you. You push it open gently, revealing a narrow stairwell spiraling downward into shadow. You descend slowly, each step a soft echo fading into the thick dark below. The walls grow cooler, their surface damp beneath your fingertips, and the scent shifts: moss, old stone, a hint of smoke lingering in hidden corners. At the bottom, a small chamber opens before you, lit only by a single lantern hanging from a rusted hook. Its flame trembles, casting shifting shapes along the walls, creating silent dancers that bow and turn in endless, quiet circles. You step inside, the stone floor cool against your bare feet, and feel the hush wrap itself tighter around you. In the center of the chamber stands a low stone basin filled with water as still and dark as midnight. You approach slowly, your reflection blooming on the surface like a phantom flower. You kneel beside it, your breath causing gentle ripples that glide outward, distorting the soft shape of your face. You dip your hands into the basin, the water cold and alive, wrapping around your fingers like silken threads. You bring it to your lips, the taste pure and deep, echoing the hidden springs that feed it from beneath the earth. You feel it slide down your throat, a quiet blessing, a soft thread weaving through your center. As you lower your hands, droplets fall back into the basin, each one a small, silver echo disappearing into the dark. You rest there for a while, your head bowed, listening to the subtle song of water and flame. The lantern flickers, and shadows lean closer, as if to listen to the unspoken prayers moving through your chest. When you finally rise from the basin, your hands feel cleansed, as though they carry a new, quiet light. You step back from the water, the droplets on your skin cooling in the soft lantern glow. Your movements are unhurried, your breath slow and steady, each inhale a silent gathering of the shadows, each exhale a gentle offering to the hush that surrounds you. You turn toward the small stairwell, your fingers brushing along the rough stone as you climb upward once more. Each step feels lighter now, as if the silence below has peeled away hidden layers, leaving only the tender core of your being. The walls seem to lean in closer, holding your shape as you ascend, cradling you in their cool embrace. At the top, the corridor opens wide again, breathing in the faint moonlight that spills through high windows. You walk forward, your shadow slipping ahead of you like a quiet guide. The air is sweeter here, touched by the faint perfume of night flowers that drift in unseen currents along the stone floors. You follow a narrow passage that leads toward the outer cloister, where the night hangs heavy and full. The arches frame small squares of the sky, each one a painted piece of deep blue velvet stitched with stars. You pause beneath one arch, lifting your face toward the open night, feeling the quiet pulse of the universe tremble softly against your skin. A cool breeze moves through the cloister, stirring the hems of your robe and brushing lightly across your hair. You hear the low murmur of distant leaves, the whisper of a small creature scurrying unseen along the garden wall. Each sound folds into the larger symphony of night, weaving a tapestry of gentle life that cradles you in its slow, rhythmic sway. You continue walking, your steps tracing a soft arc beneath the moonlit arches. Your fingers glide along the worn stone columns, feeling each groove and scar, each silent memory etched deep by countless passing hands. You imagine the echoes of these hands, prayers whispered in the dark, silent tears caught by candlelight, gentle laughter carried away on the morning breeze. Ahead, a simple wooden bench waits in the shadows. You approach and sit, the wood cool and familiar beneath you. You fold your hands in your lap, your eyes lifting once more to the star-pinned sky. The stars seem closer now, almost within reach, like small, bright thoughts drifting on the edge of sleep. You watch as a single star blinks and slides across the dark canvas above, leaving a thin, glowing trail that fades as quickly as it was born. You feel your breath catch in your chest, a soft, private wonder blooming and then settling back into the gentle rhythm of your heart. The air settles around you, thick and tender, holding the weight of unspoken dreams and unvoiced songs. You close your eyes, listening to the night breathe, each inhale and exhale echoing softly in your bones. You feel yourself dissolve into that breath, becoming of the slow, eternal dance that drifts above the monastery walls and curls among the sleeping herbs in the garden below. After a long moment beneath the stars, you rise from the bench, feeling the wood's quiet farewell echo through your palms. You step once more into the cloister's gentle corridor, the arches folding around you like a slow, closing embrace. Your steps are steady and soft, as if each one is stitched from moonlight and distant songs. The path bends and guides you toward the heart of the monastery, where the night deepens and gathers like ink in a waiting well. You pass a small alcove where a single lantern burns, its flame small but unwavering, casting a pale glow that pools on the stones like spilled milk. You pause there, feeling the warmth from the tiny light brush your cheeks, a fragile comfort against the cool breath of night. You lean closer to the lantern, watching its flame bow and sway in slow, hypnotic arcs. The glass around it is smudged with fingerprints, quiet echoes of hands that once carried it through darker halls. You imagine those hands, strong and tender, guiding the light past sleeping doors and silent walls, a moving star within the monastery's labyrinth of shadows. Beyond the alcove, a narrow staircase spirals upward, its steps worn smooth from centuries of quiet ascent. You begin to climb, your hands sliding along the stone railing, feeling each cool curve steady you as you rise. The air grows thinner, laced with the scent of old wood and hidden dust, carrying the faintest trace of beeswax and spent incense. At the top, a small wooden door waits, half open as if expecting you. You slip through, entering a small chamber beneath the roof beams, where the night seems to gather most intimately. The ceiling angles low, close enough that you can touch the rough wood above, feeling its ancient pulse beneath your fingertip. A single window faces the sky, its shutters drawn wide, letting the moon pour in like a silent river of silver. You approach, leaning your forearms against the sill, and let your gaze drift outward. The monastery's rooftops spread below you, dark waves frozen in their midnight hush. Beyond them, fields sleep beneath a thin veil of fog, and the distant tree line shivers softly beneath the moon's pale hand. You breathe in deeply, the air cool and alive, slipping down into your lungs like a bright, secret hymn. Each exhale feels like a gentle surrender, a small offering to the patient night. Your fingers trace the edge of the window, the wood warm in spots where countless others have rested, each touch an echo folded into the dark. You feel the weight of the day slide finally from your shoulders, drifting away like a feather caught in a soft current. The hush here is deep and kind, a quiet that listens without question and holds you without demand. You rest your forehead against the frame, eyes closing, and allow the darkness beyond to slip into you, filling the small, quiet corners of your mind with silver whispers and distant stars. Somewhere below, the monastery breathes in its slow, ancient rhythm. You feel it rise and fall through the walls and floors, a great, silent heart guiding all things gently toward the waiting dawn. You linger there, suspended between breath and moonlight, until you feel the soft pull of sleep rising once more, ready to gather you into its patient arms. Slowly, you turn from the window, the moon's glow still humming beneath your skin. You cross the small chamber, your feet whispering across the worn wooden floor. Each step feels softer now, as if the ground itself has become a quiet current, carrying you deeper into the folds of the night. You find a low bench beneath the sloping beams, its surface smooth and inviting. You sit, your body folding easily, as though it has been waiting for this gentle pause. Your hands rest on your knees, palms open to the cool air drifting through the window. You breathe in, feeling the breath settle into the hollow of your chest like a small, glowing stone. Above you, the roof creaks softly, a slow, ancient language spoken only to the stars. The sound moves through the beams, echoing like distant waves brushing against a hidden shore. You tilt your head, listening to the conversation, letting each groan and sigh fill the quiet spaces between your heartbeat. Your eyes drift to a small crack in the roof, where a thin line of moonlight slices through the dark. Dust motes float within it, turning lazily, each one a tiny universe drifting in its own slow orbit. You watch them spin, your thoughts unraveling like a long, silver thread slipping through your fingers. A faint scent of old cedar rises from the beams, mingling with the distant perfume of the garden below. You imagine the herbs resting, their leaves curling inward, holding secrets of sun and rain deep within their veins. You sense the bees sleeping in their hives, their small bodies humming softly in dreamless slumber. You shift on the bench, feeling the wood answer beneath you, a quiet sigh that seems to echo your own. Your fingers trace the edge of the seat, mapping each groove and scar, each quiet testament to hands and nights long gone. You imagine those who sat here before you, their thoughts drifting like lanterns into the same soft dark, their breaths woven into the same patient silence. A gentle chill brushes your neck, and you draw your robe closer, feeling the fabric gather warmth around your shoulders. The air feels alive with memory, with the secret pulse of all things breathing together beneath the watchful gaze of the moon. You close your eyes, your lashes trembling against your cheeks, and sink into the hush, the gentle darkness blooming around you like a quiet sea. Your breath deepens, moving in slow, rhythmic tides, each inhale a small arrival, each exhale a soft doer. You feel your body grow lighter, as if each bone and muscle is dissolving into the soft currents of night. The edges of your mind soften, becoming porous, letting the whispers of the beams and the low murmur of the earth seep through. A single star flickers through the crack above, its light trembling as if caught in a secret laugh. You sense it watching you, a small, steady witness to your quiet surrender. You offer a slow, silent smile, the shape of it lingering in the dark even as your eyelids lower, heavy with the promise of sleep. Your smile drifts away as your mind softens further, sinking into the deep, slow rhythm of the night. You feel your thoughts slip past like quiet fish gliding beneath a still pond, each one leaving a gentle ripple before vanishing into the darkness below. Your fingers rest limply on the bench, warmth fading slowly from your skin as the chill of the beams above drips down like a silent rain. You listen to the faint ticking of your own pulse in your ears, the sound delicate and endless, like a moth's wings brushing against the edge of a lantern. Your breath moves with a new patience now, each inhale a slow gathering of shadows, each exhale a careful release of unseen weight. You sense the monastery settling beneath you, the stones easing into the hush of the deepest hours, the gardens curling into themselves like sleeping animals beneath the moon's pale hand. A distant owl calls from beyond the walls, its voice a smooth silver thread weaving through the fabric of the night. You hear it echo across the rooftops, slip through the arches, and pool in the small, hidden places of your heart. You imagine its wide, watchful eyes gliding above the fields, scanning the fog that lies like a soft blanket over the earth. You offer a silent greeting to it, a shared recognition between two quiet watchers of the dark. Your shoulders drop further, the tension leaving you like mist leaving the morning grass. The wooden beams above sigh again, a gentle groan that feels like a lullaby sung in a language older than words. You lean back slightly, your spine resting against the cold wall, and feel your body grow heavier, anchoring you to the breath of the monastery, to the pulse of the night beyond. In the corners of the chamber, shadows dance slowly, curling and folding like pieces of dark silk stirred by an unseen breeze. You watch them move with half-lidded eyes, each shape shifting and turning, weaving soft patterns that echo the silent stories hidden in the beams and stones. You sense that these shadows know you, that they have waited through countless nights to share this quiet hour by your side. Your fingers curl loosely into your palms, and you feel the last warmth of the day slide into the darkness. The edge of sleep sharpens and blurs at once, a soft horizon pulling you forward like a gentle tide. Your mind drifts over small, tender images, a sprig of rosemary glistening with dew, the slow ripple of water in a moonlit basin, the single flame of a lantern bowing toward the floor. Beyond the window, the stars hold steady in their endless vigil, each one a silent guardian glowing in the ink-black sky. You feel their distant warmth press softly against your forehead, a cool kiss that slides down to settle beneath your ribs. Your final thoughts become small pebbles dropping into a deep, still well, their echoes spreading outward in circles too gentle to break the hush. Your breath pauses, then resumes in a thin, quiet thread. Your eyelids fall fully now, the last glimmers of candlelight and moon glow fading into a soft, velvety dark. The hush gathers you close, folding you into itself, a careful hand smoothing the edges of your dreams. And as you slip into the waiting sea of sleep, you carry the monastery's breath within you, a quiet, endless chant that cradles you far beyond the walls, into the deep, starlit expanse where all things finally come to rest. The darkness folds around you completely now, soft and unbroken, like a velvet cloak laid gently across your shoulders. You float in its depths, weightless and unbound, your breath moving in long, slow waves that echo the ancient rhythms of the earth below. In this endless sea of hush, your body dissolves into starlight, each thought a faint ripple fading into the vast, tender dark. Somewhere far below, the monastery dreams beside you, its stones humming softly, its gardens breathing beneath the patient moon. You sense the herbs resting, their small green bodies curled into secret knots of fragrance and memory. You feel the warmth left behind in the cloisters, the slow, silent song of candle flames guttering into sleep. You drift further, past the edges of walls and gardens, beyond the arches and winding stairs. You slip through the silver threads of moonlight woven across the fields, past the low walls lined with moss and tiny, silent snails. Your spirit glides above the rooftops, light as a sigh, unseen and untouched, held only by the soft gaze of the stars. The air up here tastes different, sharper and more alive, as though each molecule carries a fragment of 1,000 old songs. You move slowly, weaving between thin veils of mist that rise from the sleeping fields. Each swirl of fog curls around you, brushing against your cheeks and leaving a cool, damp kiss that shivers across your skin. A lone willow stands at the edge of the garden wall, its long branches dipping toward the earth as if listening for a secret pulse beneath the soil. You hover above it, watching the fine threads of its leaves shudder in the night breeze. You imagine the roots sinking deep into the dark, holding stories older than any prayer whispered beneath the monastery arches. Beyond the willow, a narrow path winds through an orchard, where fruit trees stand in quiet rows, their branches heavy with memories of sun and rain. You slip through them, each leaf trembling in your passing, each apple holding the moon's pale reflection in its smooth skin. You feel the gentle pull of these hidden lives, each fruit a small lantern glowing with unseen warmth. Further on, a low stone wall opens to a hidden meadow, the grass tall and heavy with dew. You drift over it slowly, the blades ing beneath your presence, small droplets falling like silver beads onto the dark earth. You hear the tiny movements of night creatures below, a field mouse rustling under a leaf, a beetle tracing its way through the damp labyrinth of stems. Above you, the stars flicker and shift, distant companions guiding you deeper into the dream's soft labyrinth. You feel them calling, their light 1,000 silent hands reaching down to cradle your drifting form. You surrender fully now, your breath dissolving into their gentle pull, your heart opening like a moonflower beneath the midnight sky. In this final surrender, you feel every sound, every scent, every soft echo gather into a single, endless chord. It moves through you and beyond you, a quiet hymn that holds the shape of your spirit like a small flame cupped in careful hands. And in that moment, unbound and shimmering, you know that the hush will carry you ever onward, beyond the walls, beyond the fields, into a night that is as deep and boundless as the dream from which it was born. As you drift further into the embrace of the night, you feel yourself carried on a current so gentle it seems to breathe rather than move. You become the hush itself, a thin veil woven from moonlight and the soft rustle of distant leaves. The weight of your body vanishes, leaving only a quiet awareness that glows faintly, like a hidden ember deep inside an old hearth. Below, the monastery lies wrapped in its own soft dreaming. You sense each room, each narrow passage, each silent garden corner holding its own small heartbeat. The stones rest in the dark like sleeping animals, their warmth slowly fading beneath the silver touch of stars. You can almost hear the ancient walls sigh, a slow exhale that has carried centuries of whispered prayers into the night sky. You hover above the cloister, watching the arches line up like dark ribs cradling the courtyard. The herb beds gleam softly with dew, each plant a curled secret folded into the earth's dark palm. A lone snail glides along a damp path, its body shimmering in the moonlight, leaving behind a thin, iridescent thread that glitters like a fleeting thought. Beyond the courtyard, the orchard breathes in quiet pulses. Apples hang heavy and still, each one a small moon caught among the leaves. You drift above them, feeling the cold night air slip through the branches and stroke your invisible skin. You move onward, past a low stone well whose surface holds a perfect, unbroken reflection of the stars above. You gaze down, seeing not your face but the infinite depth of night gazing back. The fields stretch beyond, waves of tall grass undulating in a silent hymn. You glide above them, each blade bending and shivering under your passage. Somewhere below, a fox slips through the shadows, its movements fluid and silent, its eyes bright as twin embers. You follow it for a moment, watching it weave a quiet path through the moon-washed meadow, each step a soft ripple across the silver sea of grass. At the edge of the fields, an old oak stands watch, its branches like outstretched arms holding the sky. You circle it slowly, feeling the deep, rooted strength humming beneath its bark. You imagine the stories it has gathered, storm winds tugging at its crown, soft rain sinking into its roots, the low laughter of monks resting in its shade during long summer afternoons. As you float around the oak, your awareness begins to soften further, the edges of your thoughts dissolving into the broader rhythm of the night. The stars overhead thrum softly, a cosmic chant that moves through your chest in gentle waves. You feel your breath slow, each inhale a cool sip of starlight, each exhale a silent thread unspooling into the darkness. The world stretches out infinitely now, each hidden corner shimmering with secret life, each shadow holding a gentle invitation. You sense the monastery's heartbeat echoing through the fields, through the orchard, through the folds of the fog that drifts across the distant hills. It feels like a soft drum calling you home, a deep, resonant chord that holds you even as you fade further into the vast, waiting quiet. And so you surrender completely, your last thoughts blooming and scattering like petals across a moonlit pond. You become the hush, the soft pull of stars, the slow curl of mist over the sleeping earth, a quiet, endless drift into the forever night, where every echo is a gentle song and every breath a silent prayer. Your essence floats deeper into the velvet cradle of night, where all sound fades into a soft, living hush. Here, you are neither body nor breath, but a gentle awareness drifting like a feather across a boundless sea. The stars above seem to glow closer, their light a tender whisper that strokes the edges of your spirit with a warmth older than any sunrise. You drift beyond the old oak, past the quiet orchard, where each tree holds its own small dream of morning rain and the soft patter of bees. The meadow opens wide beneath you, a pale quilt stitched with moonlit threads. Each blade of grass catches the light and shimmers, trembling as though it hears a secret music carried on the breeze. Farther still, a narrow brook slips through the fields, its voice a silver murmur winding between stones worn smooth by centuries of hidden stories. You hover above it, feeling its cool breath rise to meet you, a thin mist curling like delicate fingers around your drifting form. The water's surface mirrors the stars, each ripple scattering their reflections into 1,000 shimmering fragments. A fox appears at the edge of the brook, its coat bright as polished copper in the moon's gaze. It lowers its head to drink, and you watch the water tremble under its careful tongue. For a moment, its bright eyes lift to the sky, catching a quiet gleam, and you sense a fleeting understanding pass between you, two quiet watchers sharing the same infinite hush. You glide onward, your essence brushing through low branches that arch over the water. The leaves quiver as you pass, sending small showers of dew down into the brook's slow current. You feel each droplet as it falls, a tiny cold star slipping through your awareness and disappearing into the dark below. Beyond the brook, the land rises into soft hills draped in a silver veil. You rise with them, feeling the cool currents of night wind swirl around you, lifting you higher into the embrace of the open sky. The stars gather closer, bright and watchful, each one a small lantern guiding you further into the hush. Their glow spills across the hills in thin, pale rivers, turning each stone and hollow into a quiet pool of light. At the crest of the highest hill, you pause. The world spreads out below you, a vast tapestry of fields, gardens, walls, and distant woods all folded under the soft hand of moonlight. The monastery lies nestled at the heart of it all, its roof lines dark and serene, its corridors and chambers holding the warm echoes of breath and prayer. You feel a soft tug in your chest, a gentle thread pulling you back to that quiet core, where every whispered chant and every flickering candle flame still glows in the hidden folds of your spirit. You hover there for a long moment, weightless and open, listening to the slow song of the earth turning beneath the stars. The night seems to hold its breath with you, a shared pause stretched thin and delicate across the hills. You sense the hidden heartbeat of roots deep below, the secret shifting of seeds, the patient pulse of stones waiting for dawn. And then, like the slow closing of a deep exhale, you begin to drift downward, following the soft thread that leads you back toward the sleeping monastery. You feel yourself gather again, your spirit folding gently into shape, your breath returning as a thin, glowing ribbon that anchors you softly to the world below. You descend slowly, as if riding a tender breath drifting back to earth. The hills and fields welcome you with open arms, their soft curves glowing under the moon's steady watch. Each step of your return feels like slipping into a warm pool, your form becoming denser, your edges regaining the quiet shape of a body cradled in sleep. As you draw closer, the monastery appears again in all its quiet grace, the walls wrapped in soft shadow, the windows dark and waiting. You pass above the orchard, the trees standing like silent sentinels, their branches heavy with hidden dreams. You sense the gentle pulse of life sleeping beneath each leaf, the patient holding of tomorrow's blossoms curled deep inside the bark. You drift over the courtyard, the herb beds breathing their night fragrance into the air, rosemary, sage, lavender, each note weaving into a tapestry of memory and promise. You feel the paths below, worn smooth by countless footsteps, each stone carrying a whisper of devotion and a trace of warmth from long-vanished afternoons. The arches open below you, a row of dark embraces leading toward the heart of the cloister. You slip between them like a sigh, moving past the columns where vines cling and weave delicate patterns against the stone. Your spirit feels the hush waiting there, the deep, listening quiet that holds all the unspoken prayers offered through the years. You move inward, gliding through corridors that remember every echo of chant, every shuffle of sandals, every candle extinguished in reverent hush. The walls breathe with you now, their cool skin pressing close as if to share their endless patience. You pass a closed door, and beyond it, you sense the soft shape of your own sleeping form, curved gently beneath the folds of a simple blanket. You hover for a moment, watching the slow rise and fall of that quiet chest, the delicate flutter of a dream passing across the brow. You feel a tender warmth bloom within you, a soft recognition, a gentle reunion with the fragile vessel that has carried you through waking hours. You enter carefully, like a breeze slipping through a half-open window, settling back into the shape of flesh and breath. Your fingers twitch faintly on the blanket's edge, as if greeting an old friend. The room holds its breath around you, the stone walls leaning closer, the moonlight spilling in through the small window to rest on your cheek like a final, silent blessing. The last threads of your drifting dissolve into the warmth of your chest, the quiet rhythm of your heart gathering them close. A single star glimmers in the window above, its light trembling in the dark like a small, patient flame. You feel its soft gaze upon you, a distant companion standing watch as your spirit nestles deeper into its familiar cradle. Your breath evens out, slow and serene, a steady tide flowing through the gentle harbor of your body. You sink into the final hush, each heartbeat an echo rolling into the vast quiet beyond the walls. You feel the monastery breathing with you, the gardens sighing, the fields turning slowly beneath the sky's endless arc. And in that last, soft moment before the dream pulls you fully under, you sense it all: the stars, the earth, the silent prayers, the infinite hush, woven together into a single, tender breath that cradles you far beyond the night.